Welcome everybody back. Technically, this is like kind of for both of our shows, Strange Brew Podcast, Classy Stranger, Class Horrorcast, kind of our joint venture, you could say a little bit now. And for all the people that tuned in last time, obviously you know who I am, Tomcat, aka Tom Thompson, and then obviously we have the Irishman.
Who is donning the amazing Dangertainment t-shirt. I'm keeping this shit till I die. So many people give me shit about the fact that I bought this and the fact that I wear it proudly. I don't give a fuck. That's
so funny. And I just sparked a bowl. We had a little technical difficulties at the beginning, but I just fucking smoked a big fat bowl for this. So we suggest everyone, if you haven't yet and you're just tuning in and you're a Patreon listener and you're like, oh, this will be awesome, a commentary on especially Halloween Resurrection of all movies. Go back, and on Aaron's main feed, we will also promote it and stuff like that, is our commentary on Halloween H2O. And as we both discussed beforehand, before this recording, we didn't expect to necessarily shit on it as much as we did. It just kind of came out of the conversation.
Yeah, and it's a movie that I would have probably said, I would fall on my sword for, and I was actually surprised this time of how much I actually nitpick every little thing.
Well, they didn't get the mask right. If they can't get that right, what happened?
Yeah, we have no hope.
So hopefully everything works out. It's I don't know if there's certain issues on both of our ends or one of our ends, but let's hope this all comes to fruition and is a good fucking cut, because we did have a little issues on Halloween H2O, but we fixed that up. But essentially, we're going to have a video where if you really want it, you can watch us on the side. But the whole idea, right, get yourself prepped up, grab yourself a beer. I feel like this is one of the movies I watched with my friend when he had like pop and chip nights. And it's like, oh, you could have that one day of the week where you can watch movies and eat fucking disgusting food that's horrible for you and laced with GMOs.
I mean, I kind of, now that I'm supposed to be an adult, I still kind of do that nearly every day.
Oh, man. Cookies and baked goods are my weaknesses. But when I'm stoned, man, some like fucking Sour Patch Kids, so bad for you. But it's just like,
yeah. So good.
It's so good when you're kind of stoned. You just like want to eat something like, oh man, that gets your taste buds going. But get yourself whatever your comfort thing is. If it's beer, even if it's heroin, I'm just joking. But don't fucking be sticking a needle in your arm while you're listening to this. Get yourself ready. And the idea is like, you want to either have this if you have a good speaker on your phone. You can technically watch us on the video aspect of it. But also, get a little fucking Bluetooth speaker. And I feel like, and I said when we were talking beforehand, is that commentaries are a nice kind of fun thing, right? They're like, you're able to, maybe you're a lonely old cat woman and you lost everyone in fucking COVID for some strange reason. They didn't get their immune systems up. But if you're, anyone out there, you get to honestly like be within the conversation and within our minds a little bit while we watch these films. Because obviously if you enjoy our content and you're a fan of us, that you enjoy our personalities and our thought processes, so essentially you kind of get to hang out with the boys and listen to us talk about obscure horror movies or stuff that is maybe genuinely trash and we didn't notice till afterwards.
Which I think this might be as well. But I'm gonna go and try and say now that I do like this film, even though I'm probably going to spend the next 90 minutes shitting all over it.
Yeah, I do. I have a like this film. One thing, and if you haven't seen it, spoiler alert, plug your ears. One thing I always took from this movie is when Busta Rhymes beats up Michael Myers, and I was like, that. And I remember being a kid and be like, that's awesome. Like, so cool. Like, and I actually genuinely liked it when I was a kid. And now I'm like, and I'm rewatching it now where I'm stoned and I microdosed this morning. I'm kind of like, all right, like, am I going to enjoy this as much as I once did? It makes me fucking like, feel like what happened to my childhood and my wonder.
That's why I had to rep the Dangertainment t-shirt, because Busta Rhymes is like, I guess, kung fu kicking Michael Myers and stuff.
Yeah. It's
it's such a bizarre, like, how all those things are in the same sentence.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be.
Yeah. No, and for everyone, you want to bring the movie just before Dimension films the what do you even call that? The logo shit pops up. Like I said, it's a production company. I don't know what you would call that at the beginning. Like, is there a word for that? Maybe not.
I have no idea.
but essentially when all the beginning credits of all the production companies, you want it just as like just as it comes up, pause it, because we should all be lined up pretty good, so everyone like kind of get themselves ready, and then after I read this trivia, we'll count to 3, and on the number 3, everyone presses play. So this is pretty cool. I thought this was interesting. Jamie Lee Curtis hated the idea of a sequel as she felt like Laurie had a satisfying ending in the previous film. All right. She fucking, oh, Michael. And she fucking touches his finger, and then she cuts off his head. So she intentionally refused to be in this film until she ultimately agreed to do her part under the condition that she is killed off in, spoiler alert, in the opening scene, which if you haven't seen this, I'm fucking sorry. I might be ruining your fucking life. As to make sure her character, Laurie Strode, wouldn't appear in another sequel. At the time of the film's initial release, executive producers tried to explain it by claiming Jamie Lee Curtis was so impressed with the screenplay that she wanted a large part in it. She has said to the public this was not the case, and she was under contract to do it. So she's like, I'm just done with this character, man. I've done this enough. Let me carry on with my life.
And you know what's strange? Like, she says all that, and then she comes back and does this newest trilogy.
I know.
And
it's
like
yeah.
I know she says like, oh, because I got so much creative input, and it's like for women's rights, and like it's fucking like
blah, blah,
anti-racism and all this shite that she goes on about. And I'm like, is it though, or is it just someone put a truckload of money in front of you and went, here you go?
Exactly. It's just like black people and white people are killed equally in this film. For every white person that dies, a black person dies. It's like fucking stupid. Like the wokeism is dangerous within our culture, and we kind of discussed it last time. And to me, I feel like when we get in these Patreon episodes, to me, it's balls to the wall. That I always say that there's no fucking, there's no censorship, and if we ever have a problem with it, with certain stuff, we will put on BitChute, and you'll just get a specific link to that, and only fans that have a link will be able to click on it. Because to me, Patreon is a place where there's no judgments and all this bullshit, and you just come and say your mind, and you don't have to edit yourself, even in a way. Like sometimes I do it with joking about maybe the LGBT, the alphabet community, stuff like that, because Anton's part of it, and I love Anton, and he's gay and stuff like that. But sometimes I make jokes as a fucking straight guy, and I'm like, I kind of have to watch it. With Patreon, I genuinely don't give a shit, and I'll just fucking say whatever I want.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because why not, right? We have the freedom to be able to do this and to give the fans something that they wouldn't normally have. You know what I mean?
And look, a lot of times, I don't care what anybody says, and I'll argue with anyone on this point. 99.9% of the population think most of this shit, but just won't say it.
100%. And when people say it, they're like, wow, you said it. Like, how many people, I get like thousands of comments sometimes on some TikTok things I've posted of my point of view, and then like, this guy gets it, like, oh, speak your mind. It's like, then you also do that too. If you think these things and you think that you need to put your opinion out there and show your support for people speaking out against the establishment and stuff like that, then do it yourself too. You know, and that's how this like awareness spreads. I heard when you were on live for your Spot episode, you guys were talking about TikTok and what to do, and I commented, I was like, just scream about your government or the vaccine and you'll get fucking views.
I mean, but I think a lot of people don't realize that what it is it
feeds into everybody's.
Yeah, like, and people like I said, it's in the subconscious. People want to say the stuff, and a lot of people are either too afraid or like too brainwashed or whatever it is. And then when they see somebody else doing something that they feel like, oh, I wish I could do that.
And they're like, what are they going to do? Cancel me? I canceled myself a long time ago, man. I don't even exist in this fucking world anymore. I've just done so many horrible things as a teenager that, like, what are you going to do? Fucking throw me back in jail? Like, I already was that villain in my life. I don't, like, give a shit if somebody, because essentially I'm independent. Unless somehow they could get to every podcast platform and be like, gotta cut this kid's shit off.
Yeah, you're going to get, like, Andrew Tate.
I know, which is fucking crazy. Either way, that's an episode for another time. So everyone bring it up to that Dimension Films things. This will be a lot of fun. There'll be some banter. Yeah, I think this is only an hour and a half. Very simple. That's why I like these movies. I wouldn't necessarily want to do a commentary on a fucking 2 or 2.5 hour movie.
No.
That's like,
that sounds like hell to me.
And the funny thing is, we can talk for 3 hours, I'm sure, or 4. Even I feel like that could come to an episode eventually one day where me and you end up doing the longest either live stream or talk that I've ever done on a podcast. But it's just like with movies, it's only so long that I can focus on a conversation, but staring at a screen.
Oh yeah, it's after the 90-minute mark, I really start to like fatigue, and I'm like, oh.
My buddy was talking about this. I always shut him out, but Mitch from the fucking one single episode he was on, but he was always like, he's like, I'm starting to realize, I'm in my 30s, I have a kid or whatever. He's like, I don't have the attention span I used to, and he's like, I can't even watch through a full 10-minute video on fucking YouTube. I need to watch like the reels, and I'm like, that's bad, man. Like that's not good.
And it's only getting worse, I think.
I know. It's like, fucked how we've become this as a society. Okay, let's enjoy this movie. Everybody sit down. Get your fucking speakers ready. Get your popcorn. Pause. Whatever you need to do at this point. Like I said, you can put us to your side if you really want to see our facial expressions. I think for some movies, it'll be better than others. But if not, just like listen as we all partake in this film. So on the number 3, you press that fucking play button. If it's on your PlayStation, if it's on a remote, if it's on a fucking computer, just press that play button when I say the number 3. Okay, you ready?
Yup.
1, 2, 3. Okay, perfect. I'm excited more for this one than I am for fucking was for Halloween H2O. I'm like fucking hitting my chair and shit like a little boy. Who's this guy? Most Ferratu, whatever this guy's name was. I didn't want to read his name when I said the fucking trivia.
Mustafa Akkad.
Mustafa. Come on. I'm sorry I'm laughing, but that name is definitely like a Disney villain name.
He's the producer. I'm not really sure how he like obtained the rights originally. There's a whole storyline with that. He was like the one that fronted the money for the original, I think.
Yeah.
And he held the IP.
Weird.
Yeah, so he always had like a say in, even to this day, I think it's his son Malik. He works with Blumhouse at the minute, and like he gets to decide what's going on. Like they have to pay him to use Michael Myers.
What? That's fucking crazy. I'm excited for some stuff that Blumhouse is doing. I feel like that's also could be literally an episode of its own. Yeah. Is just talk about Blumhouse as a whole, and then you could also talk about movies. Halloween theme by John Carpenter. I was laughing because I was thinking about while we were talking about this, and my stone mind was like, do you think when John Carpenter dies, they're gonna do like a hologram of him just fucking playing this song over and over somewhere? It's just like, and it's just like forever he's cemented in reality as just like playing that fucking theme song on a piano.
Joe, it's really funny. I was looking up trivia for this movie, and the second piece of trivia is
Harvey
John
Weinstein.
Carpenter has stated that this movie made him cringe.
Actually? Oh my god. But what did he think of Halloween H2O then, man? Like, I feel like that one
he was supposed to direct that, actually.
It would have been way better if he did. He wouldn't have.
Yeah, he was supposed to direct that, and he went into the Weinsteins and he told them, okay, so I want a $10 million director's fee, and I want a 3-picture deal with Dimension Films as well. So he wanted to be guaranteed 30 million basically. And Bob Weinstein and everybody just laughed and went, "It's 1997. Piss off."
Yeah.
It's like,
that's kind of funny that it just, part of me likes John Carpenter, and then there's part of me where I've heard things that he's kind of like an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you can't be like that, man. Like, just, you started from nowhere, and now because you have this name, you think you can kind of do whatever you want.
And look, sometimes I get it. Like, he went on tour a while ago, and he came to Ireland. He was in the UK. I actually got to meet him, and like it was fine. But like, as a man who's in his 70s now, like, you know, we're all taking photographs and stuff with him, and you can tell, like, in a way, like, it just sounds awful, but I walked away from it going like, I kind of feel like I paid money to take a photograph with a corpse. Like, the man looked like he was completely, like, just worn out, like, from touring, signing, doing book stuff.
I'm sure he's got carpal tunnel. If I do, man, how's that guy not have carpal tunnel?
And I'm like, you know, this is a bit much. And I was like, if you're gonna feel like that and kind of be like really brash and rude, maybe don't charge people like $200 for a signing after the event.
Okay, they're showing him cut off her head. Yeah, I know. And it's just like, maybe like, stop. I know he probably wants to leave money for his kids or his family or whatever like that, but you probably have enough, man.
I'd imagine he does.
Fuck, man. Oh, yeah, they're explaining. I should have set up my Michael Myers mask in the background. I didn't even think about this for these two commentaries. I didn't fucking box under my bed because I don't have room
I wanted to wear because I have the resurrection mask right there.
Can't talk through it.
Yeah, I wanted to actually wear it, but...
Man, you should put it on halfway. I want to fucking see it.
Here we get, like, generic... He swapped costumes with the paramedic.
Like, that's so... Come on, man. Like...
Oh, this is so ridiculous. Look and watch this.
The mouth open, like, I guess because he was supposed to be pinned against the car. I know it's stupid. The first time I saw Jamie Lee Curtis, I was like, I'm not going to lie. This is how many years later, and I'd rather fuck her with the long hair than her fucking butch little mom cut.
Mm-hmm. Same.
And I don't even find her that attractive. It's just like, hey, when I would talk about, like, would you fuck her on the last commentary? I was like, sorry for everybody. That's just a man's brain. That's how our brains work. It's like we have to judge sometimes like that. Just like our...
Now, one thing I will say, and I've always said this is one of my favorite openings for a horror movie.
I also really enjoyed it too when they released this. The fact that she's all fucking mentally unstable, like living in an asylum.
Mm-hmm. I always remember this scene.
Me too.
There's like the freaky fucking guy down the hall who's like obsessed with serial killers.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, I remember that.
I remember when I watched this like as a kid, I was like, oh my god, she's so badass. She's not actually taking the medication.
Oh yeah, there's so many pills in the Raggedy Ann doll. That's what those I think it's psychotropic drugs, and eventually Anton would like to talk about the Aurora school shooting. But like he was on like psychotropic drugs, and like the things they give you, so he's just standing outside. But she thinks she's and these drugs make you insane. They show it even like Jason X, where like the kind of drugs they have in the asylum. But does she just thinks she's seeing him every night? She's probably not actually believing that he's there. Is that LL Cool J? No, I'm just joking. It looks like Fluffy. Oh, isn't that the guy from Scary Movie 2 when he's like, Gail, let me touch on your tits or whatever, or Scary Movie 1? Or her camera guy.
It could be.
I think it is that guy. The camera guy in Scary Movie. It's got to be him. He's like, I just graced the boobie. I just touched the boobie. And he like hits him and shit. I'm pretty sure, man. Can we look this up?
Do you know what this movie was originally titled?
What? Dan Joffrey.
I'll give you one guess.
What was it supposed to originally be?
Yeah, like what title would you think that they originally gave this movie?
Halloween. I can't even think of something that would like because they've done Halloween Returns. Michael's Back. I don't fucking know. Isn't that the second one though, or third one?
Yeah, you're not too far off. It was Halloween, and then like a hyphen or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And then michaelmyers.com.
What? That's such a stupid fucking...
And then they changed it, I think, to michaelmyers.net was just the title of the movie.
Like fear.com, which actually I want to rewatch that movie. Just another movie that I shut out. But
yeah, that's, I think, the angle they were going for. And the reason that they changed the title, they changed it to Halloween Homecoming. And the reason they done that was because they found out that they didn't own the domain. And the guy that they tried to buy it off was like, well, I'm basically going to extort you for lots of money now.
That's so fucking funny. The Michael Myers.
Then they changed it,
you're saying, or .com,
and they changed it to Halloween Homecoming. Then,
it's not a bad name.
And then the producers were like, "No, that doesn't convey like that Michael is still alive."
Yeah.
So that's why it was changed to Halloween Resurrection, so people would have a pretty good idea that Michael was still alive.
Yes, that's fucked. So this guy is the cameraman from Scary Movie. I have a weird thing where I'm like, I know where that guy's from. I said it on the last movie. He always reminds me when he accidentally touches Gail Hailstorm's tit. That's what I was referencing because it's fucking fairly funny. She like hits him. I thought I just grazed the titty. Producers considered Danielle Harris, who played Jamie Lloyd in Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, and Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, for this role, despite her character no longer existing in the branch of the continuation as previous films, even if it didn't change her character or was killed off. Da, da, da. So they're essentially talking about how they might have had her play a character in this film to bring her back. He does the same thing he did in the last one.
Oh, wow.
Where did he come from, man? Why did they redo that scene? Like, I don't understand.
What is that about? Why does he hang from, like...
That can kind of piss me off, man. There's that thing on Prime. It says goofs, character error. Oh, fuck. Always the throat. But where did he come from? It says error around 7 minutes when Harold... The patient who knows all about serial killers is taken in. He says John Wayne Gacy died in May 7th, 1998. John Wayne Gacy was put to death on May 10th, 1999, I think, is what it said. It disappeared. Oh, here it is, maybe. Oh, yeah, he's obsessed.
Yeah, I love that dude.
That's cool. Michael Myers.
Because doesn't Michael give him, like, his knife at the end?
Yeah. Because it makes it look like he killed everybody.
So here's something that's actually quite interesting. I think people might like. Several different endings were written during production, and the cast were never sure of how the film was actually going to end.
Yeah.
4 different endings were filmed, and the director had a plan to ship. He had a plan for the studio to ship a different ending to every single theater, a technique used before during the theatrical release of 1985's Clue. However, the studio disagreed with this, and the endings now all appear on the DVD and Blu-ray sets.
That's fucking weird. Did you like Clue?
Mm.
Yeah, I know.
That was probably why they decided not to go with that.
I know. Smashing him in the head. I like that when that clown guy, and he's like, he as he walks by, he like talks about Michael. Well, we'll see it, but like how he's like,
yeah, when he's leaving,
I actually like that
like,
scene.
Yeah, I love that. It kind of sets the pace. Yeah, because he's like, Michael Myers killed 2 people in 1978 or whatever he says.
I always like that scene because it's kind of creepy. And at the time, this is when I was starting to like get into like serial killers and reading up on things like Charles Manson when I was like a young kid.
This is the second Halloween film to make any reference as to what Michael Myers eats. In the original 1978 movie, when Sheriff Brackett and Dr. Loomis enter the Myers house, they see something on the floor which turns out to be the corpse of a dog. Dr. Loomis simply says he got hungry.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
So what, he eats...
Dogs.
Dogs?
Secretly, Michael Myers is Chinese. He's actually an Asian guy in that. And
there's times I sit back and I'm like, does he like go to like the drive-thru when he steals like one of those shitty cars? Does he like?
Yeah, because he needs to have
eat
sustenance.
Out of bins.
Like, how would you survive?
Does he eat from bins? How does it work?
What took you so long? We're both at the scene where she's picking up the knife, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good.
Did you hear when she picks that up? The noise.
There's some bad... I noticed when he's waving the knife around, trying to, like, stab her and shit like that, it just sounds like shing, 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 and it's just like, it wouldn't make that sound. It would just... You know what I mean? It was...
It's, like, way over the top.
Yeah. I actually do like the mask in this movie.
Oh, interesting. So, if you look at the cover, for anyone who's looking at the video... of this right now, if you look over to the side of both of us, where you can see the artwork for the poster. That image of Jamie Lee on the front of the poster for this movie is the exact same image that was used for H2O.
Why does she ever feel sympathy for him?
Yeah, I don't get that. I was just talking there for the last 5 minutes with the microphone muted.
Oh my god!
How do you? I was just saying that.
Do that?
That image on the artwork for this movie, that picture of Jamie Lee there at the bottom, that's the exact same photograph they used for H2O.
Yeah, because she has long hair and then she dies and there's no fucking image of her with short hair. I just realized that when I was thinking about that. When you said, as soon as you said that, I was like, wait, she dies after this and you see nothing of her anymore.
Yeah, and then there's just a picture of her on the cover of this with short hair.
That's so weird. Why do they choose to do things like that? It's so fucking strange. And I feel like this is the time era, if you noticed, with 90s into 2000 films, especially horror films, and lots of films in general, is that if you look at older cover art for horror movies, they didn't include the actresses and actors, where it seems like in the late 90s, early 2000s, they had to have every person that you would kind of know of. And be like, oh my God, Tyra Banks is in this movie? You know what I mean? It happens with so many films. Yeah. Think about the cover for Valentine. They're all at the bottom of the screen. Or the poster, and there's many movies like that where it's the killer above and then all the celebrities below.
This is the scene you're talking about, right?
Yeah. Why is it a two-way door? Why? They should have keys.
Here you go.
Part of me was when I watched it as a kid, I was probably Michael's a cool guy.
I used to be he's probably such a cool guy, and then I was looking at him going I want to be just like this guy.
Crazy in a fucking asylum. Yeah, this starts the pace of the movie. I like this. I'm fucking excited. Oh. Yeah. I just noticed that he's not talking when that audio is happening. He's not moving his lips. I don't know if I just saw that or How much do you think they pay John Carpenter every time they use that?
Enough for him to never have to do anything, I would imagine.
Yeah, I know. Just for one piano riff.
Such a terrible title card.
Yeah, Resurrection. This is what you're going to look like in fucking 25 years.
25? That's generous.
This big ass beard. I feel it's just weird because we're all going to revert to that. And I'm going to look at myself because when I'm I look at myself, bad idea, but good idea. Looking at yourself on mushrooms, it's one of the strangest things I've ever seen in my entire life and forever will be. But this idea where I'm going to look back at myself and be what happened to you? Because you can still see, I can still see my younger self in my face even now. That's just what happened to you, man?
That's happened to me once or twice. You're right about that as well. Looking at yourself on mushrooms or anything like that. I've had those existential crisis where I'm looking at myself in the mirror and I'm who the fuck is that?
I know. I mine, and I've seen it numerous times. My face shifts, and I was I've said it kind of weirded me out. Look kind of like a reptilian. Which is maybe I've said to myself where it's kind of snake looking, and I thought to myself while I was on my trip looking at myself, I was am I seeing because at the core of your brain is a reptilian brain on top of a mammalian brain on top of a human brain. That's how our fucking brain's structured. So I'm I wonder if if it taps into somehow the core of that fight or flight reptile brain. It fucking freaked me out.
You're some government psyop plant. You're actually a reptilian.
And I don't know. I've said that to people too on the podcast. It's you might not, because Bill's how do you know if you're reptilian? I was you might not know, man. And it's fucking weird because I feel you see through things, or it's something of my own mind, because it's not always, it kind of looks snake looking, but it looks It's fucking crazy. I can't explain. I want to draw it sometime and just stare at myself and start writing on a piece of paper and drawing at least kind of what it looks like, because it looks like I'm a cat. I suggest people to do it because it does make you think, like, who the fuck are we? Is this reality or not?
These two chicks,
yeah,
give us a out of 10 rating.
I always do this now. It's like I can't help it. We did it on that other episode, which was a bad idea, the Irish vanishing triangle. But I would say, I was like, maybe this is a bad idea.
I didn't get killed over that, so that's good.
I know. I was like, maybe it's a bad idea to try to say, hey, which one do you find? I give her like kind of for the blonde one, because she kind of looks like, who's that chick that died?
Brittany Murphy.
Yeah, Brittany Murphy. She does have a Brittany Murphy look very much.
Yeah, she does. Yeah,
almost exactly. I give her like a 7.5, 8 out of 10, considering it's like the trailer park trash kind of look.
Mm-hmm. I kind of like that sometimes.
I know. That's what I'm saying. And me and Chelsea were looking back at her, my fiance, for everyone that doesn't know by now, looking back at our passports, because we're trying to figure out how to get them done. So then if you come down to New York, we're able to like hang out and shit. And we both look like, I'll have to show you a picture. I took a picture of mine at least. I look like I'm a fucking prison kid. Like I look like it looks like my mugshot. Like I've shaved hair and I'm like 19 or something or 18. I look like a fucking, it's awful. And I would give the other girl, because she's it took me so long. Her the brown hair chick, she's girl next door. I give her just a straight 7, maybe an 8. What do you think?
Yeah, probably the same. But I feel like, right, if I was given the honest choice, I would probably go for the blonde-haired one first.
I know.
I feel like she's the one that's like easier to attain, and you could just like do whatever.
Yes, and that's how guys' brains work. Is like, okay, who would necessarily be easier to get with, and who might do freakier things? Where you don't want that starfish chick. That's never a fucking good option. It's like, I'm just gonna lay here and you can do all the work. Also, really like this kid. He's in a bunch of stuff that I've liked. I feel like, or am I mixing the guy from Final Destination up with him?
I was just about to say, is he from Final Destination?
Ryan wait, I'm gonna look this up. Merman. His name is Merryman. Ryan Merryman. That's fucking hilarious.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, you're a celebrity. Why would you not change your name? Ryan Earl Merryman.
Oh wow,
he's from Final Destination 3. I fucking knew he was from one of them.
Scooter. Oh yeah, that's the one with the roller coaster.
Yeah, I actually liked that, and I liked him in that film.
Yeah, I loved that movie.
Oh my god, yeah. And I just watched that recently. I started going back and watching the Final Destinations. I watched the first one, the second one, and then I watched the third one because I love the second one too. People can shit on me all they want, but I enjoyed those films.
Same, and I just realized as well how much of like I guess I fall for opening scenes from horror movies. Like I love that roller coaster scene at the start of number 3.
It's sick. And even though the second one got me and my buddy, I remember specifically where we watched it and the whole log scene and how like it's like 5-10 minutes of people just getting destroyed on the side of a road. So many douchebags in this movie. Also, the guy from American Pie's in this. Like, they have some good cast where I'm like, oh, that's actually awesome.
What's his name again?
I can't. I'm sure she'll be able to pull it up.
Yeah, there he is.
Luke Kirby? No, that's not it. Oh, Thomas Ian Nicholas. He's in a lot of stuff. The
director of this movie. Yeah, he is. The director of this movie, Rick Rosenthal, was actually the guy who directed Halloween 2.
Really?
Yep.
And to me, people can say whatever they want about this film. I genuinely, and I always say that word because I'm just being honest about it, is I do like the cast, other than maybe Tyra Banks. Even her, she does what she needs to for the movie. Like, I feel like it's not even that bad. She did a pretty good job. But every character has its place.
Yeah, and like, you know, you have to remember, like, back in, like, you know, probably, the year 2000 when they first started, like, talking about this.
Yeah.
I think it was, like, really ahead of its time.
Yeah, me too. That's what I'm saying about, like, how Scream 4 did the same premise years and years later. They're like, we need her. She can scream.
Busta Rhymes is some ugly motherfucker.
Yeah. His jawline is just weird. He has a very like peanut shaped head. But I love Busta Rhymes' voice. I don't like a lot of his music, but there's specific songs where I'm like, all right, like that hits. But I do enjoy his voice. Goofs, audio-visual unsynchronicity at ground 24 minutes. When Freddie is watching Fist of Fury, he hears the doorbell and says something as he turns his head, but his mouth doesn't move. Things that I like Prime for that. They tell you some of the things about how the movie gets fucked up. What? I didn't know that.
That blonde chick, she has her own YouTube channel now, and the first time she ever watched the movie the whole way through, she done like a video of herself for her YouTube channel, like reacting to it.
Was it? Did you watch it?
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah, was it? Oh my god, look how stupid I look.
Yeah, and it's just like shitty quality, and I was like, wow, bitch, do better.
Did you say anything how she copied Brittany Murphy's look?
No, and it's really weird because I think at one point I used to be like confused by that. I was like, wait, is that?
I know.
Is that
the
her?
look is the exact same look that Brittany Murphy had for a very long time. I've juggled around talking about Brittany Murphy for the Famous Dead series. So if you're interested by any dead celebrity, let me know, because especially with an interesting death story, because the Famous Dead is a series that I want to keep going back to, because we did like Chris Farley and John Belushi. Sid and Nancy, but I want to start doing some more obscure people too. So remember, if you think anyone you like that's dead, fucking let me know. We'll talk about it.
Why would she be so afraid of that?
I know. The boogeyman? Remember the internet?
I was just gonna say that, like that whole like internet, like AOL, MSN,
Oh my God.
like chat room thing.
Oh, did you ever use chat rooms?
Yeah.
They were fucking creepy. So creepy. And there was one that and we were just kids, so there's things even like as it got more big, like Habbo Hotel, where you walk around as like a character, and like there would be like dudes that are like, I'm in the Bloods, and they all wear like fucking blood outfits, like bandanas and shit. But
I remember times like being in like chat rooms and stuff, and like being so naive that like if I seen like, you know, gamer girl 12, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's definitely a girl.
Yeah, no, for sure. And how there would it was a huge thing if like kids that don't understand this, that when the internet was first hitting off, it's how you could speak to people from around the world. Everyone was like tripping out, and you'd have chat rooms where honestly a lot of them were adult themes that kids could easily click onto, and which is the internet was Wild Wild West and dangerous. And then you have like 18 plus or 16 plus or 13 and under. And it's just like, oh my God, it's being so naive that you could have easily been kidnapped.
But I remember like obviously when you're like young like that and you're a horny little fucking
yeah, just like
mongoloid
talking. Yeah, just you're an animal. Men are animals back then. Anything to kind of fucking get us off, which is very funny, but it's true. You can't explain to a female, which they do have these same tendencies, but not as much, as suppressed more in society. But men genuinely, when they start hitting that fucking period, they're like, there were horror movies too, introduce you, you're like, oh, tits, man. And you'll just pause the scene before someone gets their head cut off just to see a pair of tits.
And you had to be really creative as well.
Yeah. I would watch IFC fucking films like on a shitty, like very crappy TV where it's like 1 a.m. when those films come up and it's just like these shitty 70s or 80s film, but there's like boobs for 2 seconds. A couple scenes, you just see slight tits, and it's like that was good enough. So many like shitty TV cameras just because of what the time era was.
And like they're all like connected with fucking big cables that like run through the entire house. It's crazy to look back on it now, you know, like what, 2 decades later, that like at the time this was like all high tech. It was like, oh, walkie-talkie, screens.
Now it's so different. Now it's just like it's that we can do this shit, like create like stuff.
Like think about the technology we're using right now to watch this.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's better than I had at that time. This is I actually need to dance around.
Yeah, I know. That always annoyed me. I was like, oh, fucking hell.
And they just made his house look so old and decrepit and shitty. But I guess I get it because nobody's in it. If nobody's inside of it.
He stabs him with this shit, doesn't he? Yeah.
Do you think they try to replicate it as best they could to the original? The house, at least? Like, I don't know if they...
But you see, again...
At around 29 minutes, Charlie's camera is fixed at a 90-degree angle on the tripod. When Michael picks it up and stabs him, the image showing on the screen should have been the ceiling or at least Michael's image. So this is just going to happen like now. We'll see it. Because this is a goof.
Tyra Banks annoys me so fucking much.
I know. That's why I was like, she's the only one where I could leave in this film. You don't need to.
Yeah, and that's crazy when you think about how ridiculous this film is from start to finish. To say that she's probably the worst part of it.
Yeah, I know. I just don't like her in general, I think.
Yeah.
Not saying I wouldn't fucking boink her. That's a different story. I was going to say like earlier, it's like, you remember how there's like, we're talking about people or how they're known, Jamie Lee Curtis is known for, Laurie Strode, right? It's like how Jennifer Aniston is fucking mad that like horror fans still like, do you remember doing Leprechaun? And she's like, I don't want to even fucking think about that movie anymore.
I love that movie so much.
I know, so do I. I think the first one is so well done with this like, can we do a commentary on that fucking movie when he throws the fucking shoes and he starts cleaning them and shit?
Oh, and he like runs after him and stuff.
So fucking funny. I would love to do a commentary on that film. We should do that for St. Patty's Day this year.
100%.
And maybe release it. No, we won't even do it for all the Patreon listeners. We'll like maybe do it for the main shows, and I'll put it up on Strange Brew too, because I think that'd be so fucking funny.
I'm trying to grab something here to show you.
It's a cool concept though, like just fucking getting all your cameras ready and shit. So you have to stay within the house.
It is a cool concept, I have to say.
Yeah.
I think it's inventive, especially for the fact that it was 20 years ago.
I know. I think it's cool.
This has literally got nothing to do with... I don't know if I've ever showed you this before.
I think you have, but not close up. So if someone's just listening on audio, Aaron, just check out the video quick, pull that back up. And Aaron's showing the Leprechaun. It is genuinely fucking creepy as fuck. Like, it is actually like... is that...
It has this little shamrock shirt.
That's so funny. Does your kid like it?
No, it's the one thing that he's like terrified of. He calls it the goblin.
That's so funny. Also, because we're on the topic of it while they're getting into the house and everything, did you like the new Leprechaun movie? I actually, with the little wee man, I actually really liked it a lot.
I interviewed him a while back. I actually really like that movie.
Yeah, I thought it was really well done. That's been another topic for another time, but I do think that we would be able to pull off a commentary definitely for the first Leprechaun, and then shout out for the Patreon. We'll probably end up doing like Leprechaun in Space and like really obscure movies for the paywall. And why we do that is because we're able to dissect it more, and it's something that is more rare that I don't think many people have done. So certain of these movies it makes more sense to be like, okay, like extra content for you guys. Check us out.
Yeah.
But now I fucking definitely St. Patty's Day, we're making that a fucking thing. I want to fucking have a commentary on that fucking film. And he's trying to get with her.
Don't they?
He's such a douchebag.
Again, like, it's
in
not
this
really
fucking film too.
It's not really spoilers because like it's a commentary track, but don't they later on in this movie like somehow discover like these underground tunnels?
Yeah.
There's like a cave or something, and he's been eating rats down there.
Yeah, he has like a little place where he's been sleeping. But like, then where does that come from, right? Like, technically that has to link into then him being part of this cult. And then because it gets to it later, but they're like in the basement. And it's like why would that be in the basement of this house? Makes no sense. Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, and you can clearly tell that's a brand new knife.
Yeah. And in retrospect, too, if you actually think about like everyday life, this house would have been torn down a long time ago. They tore down the fucking house that fucking Paul Bernardo and Colin Mocha stay. Yeah, there's bodies there, but like after they kills his sister and then he comes back and he kills everybody, then by that time, like when he comes back the original time after being in the asylum, they would have tore this house down probably. But the idea is he just snaps when he's a kid. Like, he's like normal. So why would they have him in a fucking baby chair strapped up?
Yeah, when you actually when you start to, like you said, when you start to really dissect it, there's a lot of things that they added in, I think, at the time that they went, oh yeah, this makes sense.
But if you think about why would it though? Because essentially the story is he just snapped at whatever. How old is he? Like 8 or 9 or something like that. Mm-hmm. And he just snaps. Like there's no reason for it. They don't really. And because this is kind of related to other movies, and I want to talk about when we talk about Rob Zombie's movie, is that he's like, I want it to be like scary, and I don't want to give up the lore of Michael Myers, and then he does the fucking polar opposite, which we'll get into when we talk about Rob Zombie's films and Rob Zombie in general. But there's certain things I'm like, the whole thing around Michael Myers and what makes him scary is you don't really know why he's so evil. You don't know why he's so crazy. It's just there,
I always envision Halloween parties being like this.
Me too, man. I've never been to one like this.
And it's never, ever, ever ended up like that.
People are snorting coke and fucking each other in the bathroom. It's never like this, like 90s music going. That is, and to me, they're from Pulp Fiction, right? Is that doing a blackface style character, even though he's not doing it? Are you allowed in today's society to dress up like a Samuel Jackson character if you're a white?
Yeah. You need to cancel this movie.
Yeah, it's just like, you know what I mean? That like everything's picked at and everyone's fucking upset about everything. Well, I know something very funny. It was not my fault. I was fucking like 11 or 12, but I was in a play and I was helping backstage and they were like, oh, you can throw in the play. The director of the play, they had him, he essentially wanted to be a delivery guy for part of the film to pay homage that he's the one that like directed it. And he did a delivery guy, but he did it like an East Indian dude. And so I was 11 or 12, and they literally put me in brown face. And I'm like, I'm not fucking Justin Trudeau, okay, where I'm in my 20s and I'm doing it for fun at a party. I'm literally like in a play, and when she kind of did, but he was in his 20s. But it was like, I didn't know any different. I was like 11 or 12. I was like, this is kind of fun. I get to dress up. And they put my long hair, put in a little bun, and I was like, coming dead. And I had to like come on stage one night. After the one night, they pulled it because people complained in the audience. I'm like, and then retro, I was like, no shit. Like
you need to be cancelled. They need to do what they done to Andrew Tate to you.
I know. It's just like, and it was like, I have this whole thing where I was like, I was a fucking kid, but I had a friend that was like 15 or 16, and he dressed up like a black guy for Halloween. And I didn't see his costume until later on in the night. And this is when my buddy, I think we're like Garth and Wayne. And I walked up and I was like, what the fuck, man? Like, I saw him and I was like, that's really bad. Cause he's like wearing, it's like very generic, like the pimp kind of suit. And he literally painted his face black. And even at that time, before all this cancel culture shit, I thought it was inappropriate. I was like, you can't do that, man. I know we're in a smaller town right now, but.
Sorry, you cut out there for a sec.
Yeah, so it's fucking don't wear blackface for Halloween. It's the fact that I knew someone that did it blows my mind. Do you know anyone that did really inappropriate costumes back in the day, or did anyone dress up like a Native American?
I'm sure at some point somebody I know probably dressed up as somebody black.
Yeah.
There was this thing, I don't know if you guys have them over there in Canada. There's this store, I think they're a German brand called Lidl. Lidl. I know they're in the States. And a guy dressed up as Little Wayne. So he wore like I think they're like leaning into the joke, because people are always like, oh yeah, poor people shop there, and like, you know, people who have no money and no jobs shop there. So this guy, they release like their own sneakers, and like it has the colors of like the supermarket.
Yeah.
And like they released their own t-shirts and like sweatpants and stuff. So this guy bought all that stuff, then put like brown paint all over him, and then put grills in and like fake dreads.
Oh my God.
And it was like this big thing. Everyone was like, wow, Little Wayne.
That's so bad though, like now that you think about it, because like, but I don't know the disparage or I don't know what the fuck black people went through when they were enslaved, and I'm sure that holds into generations. I always remember this scene of like, are we gonna see tits? But like, just to end this, like, I don't know if somebody, I don't get mad when Dave Chappelle dresses up like a white guy. It's fucking funny. Like, and I know there's different context to both ways and styles that it's done. Like, it was meant to disparage a race, but I genuinely, when Dave Chappelle did that white character a couple times in the show, I laughed. Mm-hmm. It was very funny.
Why is this bitch always like eating and like drinking coffee?
She's eating. Is that a churro or something? What is that? And how this guy doesn't want to go in the party. He's like, I want to watch this. Like, does he not? Like, does he like the girl or something, or no? He just like wants to watch this show.
No, is that not is he not talking to her on like a chat room?
Oh yeah, later on I thought. So he's like, oh cool, and he's like this loser kid.
Or he like thinks, or he like thinks he's talking to her in a chat room or something like that.
You get to see this chick's tits, don't you?
I think so, yeah.
It's like, I feel like there's one tit scene here.
That dude down there, that was a fucking creep.
Yeah, he did a very good job at like his character is just genuinely creepy and like.
He reminds me of and I thought it was him for a second. Do you remember the Buffy? No, not Buffy. Fucking Sabrina.
Yeah.
When they had like that '90s TV show with Melissa Joan Hart.
I like that way better than the fucking one on Netflix.
And when she gets older, and I think that she go to college, and she starts living with that dude and the chick with the black hair, the like rocker chick.
Yeah.
That guy looks exactly like him.
He does look like somebody from something else too. Like this, I was gonna say, you remember Booger from fucking Revenge of the Nerds?
Yep.
That's what he kind of looks like to me.
Sabrina. I need to pull this guy up. What was his?
I didn't like. I get his character in this movie, but I remember like not liking his like weird, goofy ass.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, fuck off, boring. Miles Goodman was the character's name.
Miles Goodman. It's almost as bad as Ryan Merriman. Should have changed your name when you became an actor, dude. Maybe he changed his name to that, and he's like, this will sound great. Let's see where he's like pointing the flashlight in the opposite direction of where he's looking. It's like, that's supposed to be fucking Hugh Hefner or Hugh Hefner. The guy's like in a robe with a stupid wig on. And this would be a 90s thing, early 2000s, like, where they, like, say it's a real thing, but they add, like Zach Bagans in Ghost Adventures, where they have production assistants throwing shit to make it look like they're actually fucking real hunting ghosts. I thought you were going to bring up this guy's fucking face.
Yeah, I was trying to, but I think it'll knock the timer and everything off if I bring it up.
Do not do that. Of course, they're not paying attention at the time.
That's the second time she's done that, and her only job is to sit there and look at the screen.
Yeah.
Find another view quickly. Why? So did they just have like 1 million cameras and they only use some?
I know. Why wouldn't they have everything set up and then you'd be able to see everything? And then you could go back and be like, what happened? I think they had the technology back then. It's in 2002, right? It's just fucking so feels. I feel so old when I hear like about these films. I'm like, and I specifically remember like watching as like a youth and then as a teenager, and you know what I mean, every like certain amount of years.
Like this is 20 years old this year.
Oh my god, this is so fucking crazy. It's a good one for Halloween though, especially for people on the Patreon.
Yeah.
It's a good idea because you can revisit this if people end up subscribing later on. Just fucking, it's, you know, you can definitely plug this any time of year, but Halloween especially gives you that mood.
I see Season of the Witches having its 40th anniversary next month.
Oh fuck! I think we were juggling. I would talk about that movie. I didn't look at it for the longest time when I was a kid. I remember watching it once and was like, this is not Michael Myers. And I was like kind of upset about it. And then I just, you know, forgot about it. But then rewatching it years ago, see, he's fucking Hugh Hefner. Then I was like, okay, I actually really enjoy this film for what it is meant to be.
The original plan after H2O was they wanted to do again what John Carpenter wanted to do. Number 3 that time, they were going to get rid of Michael Myers and do a completely different story.
People would be pissed though, don't they know that? They'd be like,
yeah.
It doesn't
necessarily. Yeah, they put a poll out, and like I think it was like 4% of people voted for something else, and 96% voted for Michael Myers.
We want more Michael. Fucking creepy fuck.
What's wrong with him? Is he like gay or some shit?
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I thought you were going to say autistic. It's like back then you never know, man. Everyone is nowadays. Let's Color.
Like, I was listening to an English film critic who does a lot of different reviews on like BBC and stuff, and he talked about he talked about that in movies where they put like generic like scary kids drawings or stuff like that into movies, and he was like, ugh, it just gets old.
I agree. It's just like, why do you have to have these certain tropes when it comes to certain things about to explain behavior? Why don't you do something different? That's why I do, that's why I do say, and, I guess, I'm trying to think of the word I wanted to use, but celebrate, I guess, Jordan Peele's films, because, like, it's something fucking different. It's not the same at all in any way to other fucking shit. Did you see Nope?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
It was so different.
Yeah, so different.
I didn't know what to expect, to be honest with you. And I think when I came out of it, I was like, huh.
Me too.
Weird.
Same thing. I want to talk about that eventually.
And I done the same. Yeah, I done the same. I think with Us, I think it was. Yeah, I had a similar kind of. I was like, huh.
I didn't like Us as much,
and
and somebody kept telling me to rewatch it. He's like, rewatch. My buddy's like, you got to just give it another chance, because I feel like I couldn't follow it at first.
I enjoyed it more when I went back to rewatch it again, and I think it'll be the same for me with Nope. I absolutely love Get Out. That I have to say, too. In recent years, that twist, genuinely, I remember being like, I went to see it like the day it came out or whatever. I remember genuinely being like, what?
Yeah, I actually like Us.
The fuck? She's in Us?
And that I liked Us the most out of all of them, but I actually like Nope for what it was. Even Chelsea was like, came out of it like, it was something different. It wasn't the same as everything else, because we saw it in theaters. Yeah,
it kind of threw me off when it wasn't like specifically aliens, like as you would think of them.
Yes.
So that kind of got me, because I was expecting to see like some sort of like alien or whatever.
Me too.
And then when I didn't, I was like, huh, weird. And like the more I think about it, I'm like, I actually think I really enjoyed it.
We should we could even rewatch it, not even for a commentary, which we could do, it depends, but we could rewatch it and then do essentially like a review style episode, because I would like to talk about it. And it's like, and so they find this basement, which doesn't make sense in if you're carrying it on from the first, second one, then Halloween H2O, then this one, essentially the timeline for these movies, right? What would make you think that he was just chained in a basement?
And then then what's the chains and like the harness and stuff, and also, was she not coming on to him and he was like, wait a second, I just thought of something.
Yeah, let's go down to the basement.
And he just jumped down into a hole.
And how she's wanting to do something, and he's always like, maybe I need a dick instead.
What is wrong with him? Take it.
I know, it's weird.
Wait, now he's getting into it.
Oh, it's like he seemed very nervous at first. I was like, what are you nervous about, bud? Maybe it's just showing that he is more scared than she is and thinks something's weird going on. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah, they're like... Did he say, I could be a camera? I think that's what, I could be a camera. That's what I heard him say. I don't know if he said that.
Oh, there we go. Is this where we get the titties?
Or is it just her shitty fucking see-through bra? Maybe it is tits. It is very funny because, you barely see anything. With when we first started this podcast... we used to put on a movie every time we'd record, right? Bad idea in retrospect. We had one bad review on that. And he comes through the wall. Oh, doesn't it just fall? Like, how does that? They just kind of hit the wall?
Bodies just decide that's the right time to, like, crumble and fall.
I feel like this scene was just put in that it's creepy. Oh, yeah, it's them that set it up. Did they make the basement then? Maybe they dug it out. If that's the idea, that they set all this up, maybe the basement they added in afterwards. Well, before.
Yeah, maybe so.
So, and then when we started, we'd always have a movie on the background, which we got a bad review about. Like, these motherfuckers pay more attention to the movie than the subject. This is where we're like drinking a 20 fucking sixer, like between me and Billy or me and Justin or all three of us. And every time tits would come on the screen, Billy would like just his mind track like a fucking like squirrel to like a dog, and he would just like, oh, tits, and we'd like talk about the boobs for like 2 minutes and then go back to the subject we're on.
That scene where that blonde chick lifts up her shirt is not actually her. She refused to do that.
It's just lifting up her shirt. It's not even showing titties.
So they brought in a body double, and then she went to the premiere with her parents. And when that scene came on, they were like, "What the fuck did you do?" And she was like, "No, that's not me." And she's been interviewed, I think, several times since then. And she's like, "I'm actually really pissed off about that because the body double had smaller tits than me."
Yeah, but the thing is, too, you didn't want to do it, and it wasn't even a tit shot. It was just...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Who is this supposed to be? It's supposed to be Busta Rhymes and his homie or something, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just funny how, like, when I was a kid, it's always like, oh, tits. And that's what all... It's just like... for the fact that you need to have tits in the film is weird because, like... To me, like, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't give a shit. It's Patreon. I had a Mr. Skin account, and I should admit that I think it's still up, and I don't know what I've never got charged for it, but I think still that guy could sign into it. And Mr. Skin is just like nude film parts from fucking movies. And I've seen ones when I was like younger on Mr. Skin where it'd be like body double, and it's just like, why add the scene or include the actress into a nude scene? Why not do someone else that want to actually do it? You know. It's like Busta Rhymes yelling at Michael Myers.
So random.
You'll get it and fucking... It's just funny. It's like a 3-minute scene of him screaming at Michael Myers, calling him a fucking retard, essentially.
This is the lowest rated Halloween movie from the entire franchise by like
Actually?
a good bit.
What's number one?
Yeah, I
Obviously
think it's
the first
rated
one.
like...
Read off what the ratings are.
Let's have a look. Okay, so the original has a 7.7
Makes sense.
out of 10. The second one has a 6.5.
Yeah.
Number 4 has a 5.8.
Makes sense, yeah. That makes sense.
Number 4 has a 5.8. Let me see. Number 5. Number 5 has a 5 out of 10.
Half the people liked it.
Number 6 has a 4.7.
I feel like number 6 is good in its own merit. I want to rewatch it again.
Yeah. I don't understand.
Freak me out.
And they have all those extra scenes, the producer's cut, which I think makes it good.
Oh, I didn't know that. In the newest, like the release of it now. I have to rewatch that. Is that not the ending too with the witch cult kind of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember
that. H2O has a 5.8 out of 10.
That's surprising. That's so surprising. Why? I don't understand that.
And then Resurrection has a 3.9.
I would probably rate this one higher than H2O because there's no, like, at least this one you're watching through, you're enjoying it. It like speeds up pretty quickly. Michael Myers in a lot of the film. Or now that we've dissected H2O, it's like you don't see him that often. The masks are constantly fucked up. The kill scenes are not that great. Like, I'm surprised. And it rates better than 5 and fucking 6 is strange to me.
The only thing that's rated anywhere close to Resurrection that low is Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 that has a 4.8.
Wow. That's fucked, man. I don't get it, man. The whole Busta Rhymes kicks Michael Myers' ass. Okay, that sold me enough. But, like, that's fucking weird. And Halloween 2, watching these movies, I rewatched mostly while I was doing stuff for our Rob Zombie episode, Rob Zombie's Halloween. And we'll talk about it when we talk about Rob Zombie, but I'm going to say it on this one, it's a Patreon episode. I did not like the mask. I didn't really like Rob Zombie's version of Michael Myers' mask. It's okay, but... And I don't know if that's just my opinion, but I genuinely just didn't like the mask as much as I thought when I was younger.
Yeah.
Well, which we'll talk about the Rob Zombie one, but also like when Halloween 2 came out, I was like, this is cool. Like, you know, like we get something else out, but I'm sure if I rewatched it now, I'd probably hate it.
Is that a different mask again?
I think it's Busta Rhymes. Is it not? Oh, maybe it's not. No, this is definitely Michael. That's also an uncomfortable death of like just being forced upon something like a sharp object.
Would you die straight away like that?
What?
Do you think you would die straight away?
No.
Would you, like,
There's so many scenes in movies that I'm like, you would survive for so long, more than they show. Me and Chelsea were watching something recently, and I was like, you would lay there for a good 5-10 minutes, sometimes maybe even 20 minutes before you actually died. Because it didn't pierce through any major organs. Even if it did, essentially you would go through her stomach, right? Which you would sit there and you would bleed out slowly in painful, agonizing death for... And that's because I've done all this research into serial killers. That even if you hit a major organ, it would take still a while for you to bleed out.
Yeah, you're not just going to be like instantly dead.
Oh yeah, she's hitting up the fucking bong. But those little plastic fucking bongs always make me think, and it's like funny that there's like this blaze in this haunted house, which even I would do, but it would make me more paranoid and scared.
Yeah, 100%.
But like all those like little bongs, like this reminds me of the 90s of this like plastic little where you take it out on an adventure, like out in the woods or some shit.
There's a huge contrast as well between the blonde chick and the brunette. Like the brunette is like the kind of like moany, irritating, like ugh, and then the blonde chick is like goofy.
Yeah, a party time kind of chick. Like let's have fun. That's gotta be Busta, isn't it? He's in the house. He's here. It's just like. Gonna give me down a beautiful evening. He's stoned walking around. It's just like.
Yeah, I felt like when he opened the door, all like smoke came out, like fucking. It's like Shaggy and Scooby Doo.
I feel like it's hard to hotbox shit. I've tried to hotbox like showers and stuff, and it's not as easy as they portray it is. And then you're just uncomfortable, and you're just like breathing in your own smoke. Huh. What do you expect, man?
His do you reckon somebody wrote that dialogue for him, or he was like, okay, I'm gonna give you like my version?
I think
of what you want me to
Busta,
say?
they let him have some freedom in that.
Yeah, because he seems to be talking like very like I would imagine he would talk.
Yeah, for sure. It's just funny how many rappers turn to actors. And I actually really like DMX in all the movies, mostly he's done. Cradle to the Grave, like there's some really good movies that DMX did. But it's funny how many rappers did at this time, definitely like late 90s, early 2000s, were like, I can act. Can I maybe? I don't know.
Yeah. and I think they were like seeing like dollar signs and being like, yeah,
because Tupac did it before anybody. Tupac was like in acting school, whatever that school that was, that he was actually going to be like a performance artist kind of thing before he even got famous. And then he was like in Poetic Justice, Above the Rim. Juice is a fucking amazing movie. And I feel like everyone's kind of wrote on his coattails of like, well, Pac did it. Now he's dead. I'll do it. Because now he's telling him that they know, and now he's going to go scare the other guys. The other ones. Is that his plan?
I assume so. So what, she's left on her own?
Yeah.
And who else is left?
They think that
dead?
chick, right? The red-haired chick.
Oh,
is
right,
still.
yeah.
Like, because essentially if they went this far, he could probably scare those two, cut the film, and then that would be a good enough TV show. See, when they say fate, he says it like you should just play along.
But what? I don't understand. Why are they quitting?
Because he said something about play along, and they don't, then it's fake, so they don't maybe like that. I don't know. Oh yeah, he's supposed to be alive still too. I forgot about him.
Would that not be easy then?
I know.
Like if you knew all the shit was fake and somebody's like, I'm going to give you money for nothing.
But you'd be like, his hands are white though. Impossible.
Literally impossible.
It would never happen in a million fucking years. There's no way. You would not have the force, even with the power of like a lot of fucking 10 men is. You would most likely hit it in a good spot and have it like fucking dangle, but there's no way you could get a clean cut. That's like with a fucking kitchen knife. It's not big enough. I would find a way out that door. I don't give a shit. I would jump through a window. I would find a way out. If I was that scared.
I have to kind of commend. You've got to commend the filmmakers here as well. I mean, this whole thing essentially has been in a house.
Yeah.
And like it must be very hard to try and make it seem like there's all these different locations we can run to, even though there's probably like 5 rooms.
Yeah. The scene always got me. It's just like, ow, my head, man, stop it. It's just like it crushes his fucking skull, and essentially like, and this scene has been done before in this franchise, right? Where he like just squeezes their head, just shows the power of Michael.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I was good to you, Michael.
Hasn't he like driven his thumbs into somebody's eyes as well at one point?
Yeah, I definitely think that's happened.
Oh, I hate when people do that. All of a sudden, he got brave.
Yeah. Every fucking horror film almost does this. A lot of them do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, think about that scene with Julius and Jason Takes Manhattan, where he fucking knocks his head off. It's so good, though.
What's that, a rolling pin?
Yeah. They definitely make Michael like get his ass kicked in this movie.
He drew salt in his eyes. Fucking hell.
Even if this was fake, it would be so fun to watch. Like as a live thing back then when the internet was just like, kind of picking up.
Yeah. Could you imagine?
If it looked like real like this, like, and even if it was just fake, it would be a lot of fun, especially watch with people. Oh shit. Oh yeah. That scene where he brings down his arms, almost like, give me a kiss. It's just like how he's like very like close to like face to face. The iconic scene that they've done in so many fucking movies.
Mm-hmm. And then he does the slight head tilt.
Yeah. The guy's face is quite funny.
Yeah, but he doesn't make any sound.
I know.
He's
He's like, and his face does not change one bit. There's no expression on his face.
You getting fucking stabbed with big kitchen knives, like.
And then you're just like the same stone cold face of like fright. Yeah, that scene was weird. We should try to get that actor canceled that wore the Samuel Jackson costume. It's whoever he is. He probably has like no career as it is. Just be like, cancel this fucker.
Yeah, see, he's talking to her on that chat room thing.
Oh, yeah.
What is that shit that she has?
A cell phone. Is that not? It's a flip phone.
Is it?
It's a fucking shitty flip phone. No, it's not. I don't know what that is. Is that a pager?
Yeah, no, it's like...
It might be a pager.
No, it's like... The screen looks like the screen of a Kindle. And earlier on, she had like a stylus and she was like...
That's weird. It's not like a... What kind of phone is that? It's definitely a phone. I was like... Pagers did have something like that, though, where you could, like, message. Like, call this number. What an idiot. Don't scream. And she's like, looks at the text and she goes, oh!
It's not one of those fucking...
Try the window.
What are they called?
Sidekick? It's not a Sidekick. I used to have one, and that was just so funny because you couldn't get them in Canada.
Palm Pilot?
Oh, that's why I never knew anyone that had that. You might be right, though.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, Palm
or
Pilot. Yeah,
supposed to be like?
I think that you're right. That could be it for sure. Because this is just before everyone had a cell phone.
I love how like the dude is sitting at the computer and he's supposed to be like the tech guy. It's like, I'm the only one here who can type.
Yeah, I know. And then all their reactions, like all the people are like, oh, like they're like, it's no. And it's like so over the top, like kind of cheesy.
At that point now, you're not out.
Yeah, I know.
It's just like, I think I'd take my chances jumping off that roof.
Yeah, and then crawl into a bush. I don't know. Hopefully it doesn't find you. And it's like, I'm going to go back in the house. No. And like, is there not, it looks like there's not really houses around, but in the film, right?
Do they not live in a street?
They live on a main like residential street where there would be other houses around the area that at least would be like, hey, something's going on in that house. I hear screaming.
I'm not sure what's with the facial expressions.
No.
To be honest.
He looks like Billy when he falls asleep. Billy sleeps with his eyes open and it's fucking scary.
Scary.
It's super like where it's like kind of just halfway. And he said that his girlfriend has had full on conversations with him and he's been
passed out.
I did that once. There was one time we came, actually, like it's coming up. So after, I think it was Thanksgiving, I drank a bunch of scotch at, or no, it was Christmas, around Christmas, a bunch of scotch with my girlfriend's dad. And I came home and we kind of drank more. And I was sitting up in bed and I was like we were watching some sort of horror movie probably I put on or something like that. And Chelsea was talking to me for like 5-10 minutes and I was fucking like unconscious, drunk. But she just, because I could probably all of a sudden hit me and I was staring at the TV.
I don't hate his performance.
No, I actually like it. Like, I remember liking this even when I was younger. Like, he's like, we gotta get the fuck out of here. Like, how you would react. And I feel like he may have influenced that character a bit. Of like, yeah, you would just think the logical thing is like, hey, everyone's dead. This is really fucked up. I didn't expect it to go this way. He actually came back. Now let's get the fuck out of here. It's like he grabbed him and he's just like, oh shit, and just let him throw him, like tossing like a rag doll.
Woohoo, Dangertainment. Oh, wow. I forgot he makes that sound.
Wow.
Oh, God.
That's so funny.
Why was I convinced that they had this fight out in the...
They get there.
Like,
they get there.
Shed thing, don't they, right?
It's just funny that he's like, it's like, you know, I don't know. I feel like all the rappers I've listened to and watching things like Hood to Hood and shit like that, you would be, if you're someone from like the fucking ghetto and you've experienced like fucking gang violence and fighting and shit like that in the streets, I feel like you would be less in fear of fighting against one person that just has a knife. You know what I mean?
Wow, he kicked him out through the fucking window.
Like you're running from dudes with fucking guns shooting at you in cars.
Yeah.
Oh, he's fucking swinging. His little booties, man. Always his little boots. I can't pull it off because I had a buddy that was like, I was Michael Myers one year. He's like, you look like a fucking fat, short Michael Myers. I was like, thanks, man. You fucking piece of shit.
Oh, wow. Isn't that weird considering it's exactly 20 years?
It's been living under this fucking house. He's still alive.
Give a bit more information. Like, I mean, that's very cryptic and, like, not helpful.
I can only type so fast. Hey, Buster, you have the keys and shit. Get the fuck... Figure out how to leave. Is Tyra dead? Did we see her die yet?
In the house. So if you know he's in the house, then why can't you say where he fucking is?
I know. Is she still alive?
Right there.
Ah!
Oh, yeah. Exactly where you want to go.
That's what I was going to say. Don't go to the fucking basement. What are you fucking thinking? Some of these people...
How does she get back out of here?
Like, it's so stupid how so many characters like go to the place where you'll be mostly the most stuck, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
It was funny. I was listening to Jeff Foxworthy, and I don't know if it's a kind of like a racist joke. I was listening to this comedy channel, and he was talking about like how he's like, I will specifically sit behind black people so I can hear their commentary, especially on a fucking horror film. He's like, no, and he does like the accent too. It's like, is this bad? Maybe it's just time, error, and time and place because now everyone makes you question like what's good and what's bad. And he's like, you just listen to them, and they're like, why would you go that way? And he's like, and so I was like, because you know it's like that thing even in Scary Movie 2 where it's like. What's your name? We're eating the chicken wings and fucking shit.
I don't know. It annoys me that like people can't just laugh at that stuff now and be like, yeah, it's just a joke. It's not like
just kidding. And there is differences between certain cultures of people. It's fucking facts, right? Irish people are drunken alcoholics. They eat potatoes, right? Like,
yeah. And I would laugh at like jokes about myself or Irish people or whatever. Like it's just like, I mean, what's the point in getting so offended about
so
like
strange.
whatever?
This does make me want to get into other commentaries with other movies. Like it makes me excited to be like, hey, like what could we do next? Because we could pump these out and decent.
I don't know why, but I've enjoyed this. I've been more excited about this one.
I know.
Than H2O.
No, me too. Me too. And I was like, because I was like, oh, I haven't seen H2O in forever, but this one. And now you see every camera angle is posed on the dead with the dead bodies. Which, and for the Patreon listeners, we will be, and I want to do some more. Me and Aaron are talking about doing some more graphic episodes that would just be for Patreon that you wouldn't normally find on YouTube because they would take it down. There's some ideas I have, and even one about like serial killers and how they pose bodies. So that one will be genuinely fucked. Some things that we're gonna get into that would be super censored on other platforms.
Yeah, and I actually had an idea. There's a handful of like really fucked up movies that we would have to probably post somewhere.
Like BitChute or something.
Yeah, something like that. But what I was thinking is we could even go as far to, if we're putting it on BitChute, I could actually put the movie up as the background
Yeah.
and put us down very small in the corner,
I think that might be a good idea.
so people can actually watch the movie all in one. But obviously we'll have to put it on BitChute or somewhere because some of the movies
Rumble,
that I'm
which
talking about are fucked
Yeah,
up.
I'll actually look into that because I do want to do stuff like that where it's more of a thing you're able to put on your TV or your laptop, plug it in your TV and watch it. It says references Friday the 13th Part 2. Sarah defends herself from Michael with a chainsaw the same way Ginny does in the film. Weird. Oh, yeah, it says, originally the executives of Miramax wanted to continue the series by creating a whole new story in which it had nothing to do with Michael Myers. That's fucked. I can't believe they were thinking about doing that. Oh, Busta Rhymes is going to come knocking. That mask looks different. Maybe it's just the lighting, too. She still is able to have all this camera shit on her and not have it fall off.
Yeah, which is kind of far-fetched and annoying.
I always like this scene. I love that line.
One of the best lines out of the entire franchise.
Trick or treat, motherfucker. No! No! It's fucking funny.
Wow. His face when he slides down the wall.
Oh my god, like this slow
Isn't
motion
this
scene. It's just kind of... Oh, fucking... Horror movies, man.
See, again, Michael's doing that weird, like he's moving like he's a fucking stick figure.
Is there a movie where I feel like there's a movie where they're like, we've burned him, or maybe that's that Nightmare on Elm Street, where it's like talking about all the ways they've killed him and he keeps coming back.
Because a lot of them characters now have basically had everything done.
Yeah, it's hard to create something different. Like they buried Jason and then he fucking came out of the grave. Like one movie that reminds me of this, set in one place that got shit on a lot, is Jason Takes Manhattan. Another movie I watched when I was like 8, 9 years old. I picked it up with a friend when we were having a sleepover, and I actually liked it. I just liked Jason's look in that movie. But people always pick at it that it's very much like it's because they didn't have the budget for it. It was Jason Takes Manhattan. He's supposed to be in the city. Jason was in the city killing people, and they only had the budget to do it on the boat and then show the ending of him in New York.
Yeah, that's the one where he's on the boat.
Yeah,
right?
for the majority of the film.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I saw it when I was a young kid, and it was like one of like maybe the third, fourth Friday the 13th movies I actually watched. I like enjoyed it for what it was.
Oh wow, that's like an American Pie moment.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, man.
And did you like how all the music and everything just started up again? The party was like, I was like, yeah, let's get the party going again.
Everyone succeeded and lived except for fucking only two people. Does it sound bad that like to say that Busta Rhymes could snort a lot of coke?
No, because you're not wrong.
It could be like a vacuum. I had it, and I was like, "How would you know that?" I had a chick that I used to know that was like, "Yeah, you've done coke," and I was like, "What do you mean? How would you even know?" And she's like, "Your nostrils," and I was like, "I don't have fucking big ass nostrils," and she's like, "I can tell And I was like, I was like, if I look at pictures of myself, I feel like I look the same before I touch that shit and after. So I feel like she just was assuming. And I'm like, I don't even do it anymore. What are you talking about, lady? She's like, I could tell because your nose is fucking fucked or something. I was like, no, you can't know that. But I was like, maybe you can if you just fucking you look at somebody. You're like, what the fuck?
I never understood this.
The guy from Broken Lizard looks like. That's what he looks like. The guy from.
I want to see his face.
Yeah, look a little crispy over there. I was like, did they not end this with like, ooh, he might be back, but then they wanted to not do this anymore? They wanted to carry it on in a different direction. He would have struggled way more to put that body on the...
Yeah, because Michael is huge as well.
My mom always thought I could be a mortician. She's like, you like all the like the dark and just gross stuff. And I was like, not the real things. I was like, I like the things that are fake that I can genuinely enjoy being scared of.
Because I know in the back of my head, ultimately, it is fake.
Yes. But when I've watched surgery shows, like back in the day when I was having like on TV, I hated it. I did not like looking at it. Thinking about something going on with inside my body genuinely freaks me out. I feel like I've said the word genuinely fucking 70 times in this episode, but I just don't like the idea and the thought.
It's just burned all his hair off. That receding hairline finally caught up with him.
Tracy Long. All right, first impressions?
I actually enjoyed it. I don't really have that many bad things to say about it, honestly.
No, I feel like it's just a perfect wrapped up film in an hour and a half. There's like, you could point out so many things of like the 90s trope and the ridiculousness of some of the characters, but it is just meant to be a fun film. And I think that's what we got. And I will always remember liking that Busta Rhymes scene when I was a kid, like that. Yeah, fucking get him, Buster. Like, you know what I mean?
So I'm just reading here that so when the film ends with the sequel hook where he opens his eyes, this was obviously intended to reveal that he was still alive in the morgue. Josh Hartnett was originally planned to reprise his role as John Tate for another film titled Halloween Retribution and seek revenge for his mother's death. An early treatment also included the character of Sheriff Brackett, who would join his quest for revenge since Michael killed his daughter Annie. The critical backlash, along with the film ultimately flopping at the box office, the executive producers, that Mustafa Akkad, he died after this.
That's crazy.
And then that basically killed off any plans for a sequel. And then the next one, obviously, we got was Rob Zombie's Halloween.
I don't not like that idea of like a revenge style. Like, I don't know. There's
again at the time would have been quite inventive as well.
I know, and like Josh Hartnett, if they or whatever the fuck you say his name, if they used maybe like I don't think he's a terrible actor, but if they gave him more structure and a better fucking haircut, not looking like you know what it also reminds me of? You ever seen Tropic Thunder? You know when he plays Simple Jack. Never go full retard, man. That's what it kind of reminds me of. It's like gave him fucking scissors and told him to try to cut his own hair. But like I think, like I remember hearing about that too. I feel like the retribution makes me. I remember that kind of. I actually probably would have watched it and probably enjoyed it.
Yeah, same as.
It's fucking weird.
What we need to do now is we need to come up with a treatment and do a follow-up episode where we give our version of what Halloween Retribution would have been.
That's actually a great idea. We should it's definitely for a Patreon episode. If this is going to be straight to Patreon. That's not a bad idea. And then we could talk about we could even say like what direction will we have taken the film.
That'd be fun, I think, just to give like a, I don't know, like a 2-page, like, you know, write down some shit of how you think.
Yeah, we'll figure out when to do that.
where you
I
would've
actually
went
like that
with it.
idea. I'll have to actually take time to think about it. Because we can do stuff like that. That's actually a really good idea for Patreon. Trying to think of different things, because I try to have all these different ideas. We have ideas to watch like spooky, weird, like YouTube videos, like scariest videos on the internet type of thing. There's lots of stuff in the works. But also, I do like the idea because that could be carried on with other movies that maybe have never got the chance to have like a sequel or maybe a third movie installment kind of thing, where it just kind of was left. So there's plenty of films that we could probably do, even if we end up getting into Killer Clowns from Outer Space, something like that, where it's like, where would you take this movie?
Considering that that's still being talked about.
Yeah, and that to me, I was like, the fact that we've talked about doing it for a commentary for the Patreon, especially around this Halloween time, I think we should do it before we get into Jason X. Just this part of me thinks like it's still being talked about. People are liking it. When you go to Spirit of Halloween, a Halloween shop that's around North America, do you guys have it?
We don't have it here. No,
wow.
the closest thing we have is Party City.
And they have all, like, they still have the clowns. They have and recently I've seen this over the past like a year or two, like last year's and maybe this year, where they have like the clowns set up. They have the blankets, they have masks, they have the costumes. It's like, where did that come from? Is somebody pushing that film? You know what I mean?
I was gonna buy the gun in Spirit Halloween like a couple of weeks back, and I was like, it was like $27.99. I was like, will I? Won't I? I actually maybe 8-10 months ago, I interviewed the guy who composed the score for that movie. A super nice guy, John, and he was telling me like the three brothers that created Killer Clowns are really like still pushing. I mean, it's at Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood this year. I got the chance to they had a haunted house in Universal Orlando a couple of years ago. They had like a shit ton of merchandise there, like all the t-shirts, everything was like kind of pushed more so towards Killer Clowns. They had their own scare zone one year.
So I would love to do something like that.
And have you seen the footage from the Killer Clowns game that's coming out?
Yes, it's the same people that made Friday the 13th, the game, and now they made Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which I think if they were able, I've said this before, if it wasn't for what's that dude's name? Victor Miller and the Sean Cunningham fucking being at each other's throats about Friday the 13th, that game could have been way better. They could have done like crazy shit like Jason X, like him in space walking around, which they teased, and it looked fucking good. Which that's why I want to shout out, like, there's strange streams for all these horror games were going to be a lot of fun, because even if you have a PlayStation 4 or whatever, like, there's ways to stream this game. And when we go forward, because I am really excited for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game, and I really am excited for the fact that they're doing Killer Clowns from Outer Space is fucking hilarious.
I love that.
I can't believe they're doing that. Like, when I saw that, I was like, what?
I know.
What?
I literally can't believe, but I think that has a lot to say about the. I can't remember their names. Kyoto Brothers or something like that. They're the guys who created Killer Clowns. Like, they're still, if you look at interviews or podcasts with them, even right now, they're still like super passionate about that brand, and I think they're actually even pushing to have the whole thing like rebooted. That
would be awesome, and that will kind of lead into our commentary. I think we got to do Killer Clowns from Outer Space next, which for us will most likely be tomorrow for recording, so it's gonna be still fresh in our mind. And remind me to tell you where I was and what happened when I first watched that film, because it was kind of awkward. It's a weird story.
Not for podcast consumption.
No, I'm gonna tell it on the podcast, but I want it to be fresh ears on
nice.
You and Anton.
Nice.
But I'm definitely gonna mention. I said to Chelsea, and she's like, "Yeah, it's kind of weird." Fucking, and I'll tell you what she said too, knowing me. But I thought this was really good. I actually really enjoy this. To me, like, if you guys enjoy our content and us as people, then I think you will actually honestly enjoy the commentaries that we're going to be doing, especially with certain films that I want to do more obscure, weird ones. Like I said to you and Anton, if there's films that, like, there's certain films that I haven't seen yet, because you guys are more into, like, there's some things that you guys are more into the obscure and maybe stuff that I didn't even know existed type of movies. That's why I try to go through some Shudder films. Like, oh, this sounds fucking weird, but I'll give it a chance. And it always is good to see a fresh pair of eyes and a reaction of somebody to a movie that maybe you guys have enjoyed and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there's so much stuff that we can do, and there's a lot of interest in things out there. You know, it's fine to do the usual and be like, oh, we're going to do a Jurassic Park commentary. It's like, I just feel like, I don't know, it's too overdone, it's too oversaturated, and I think it's unique to like pick something like Halloween Resurrection or Killer Clowns.
Seed of Chucky,
because there's like stuff like that. I love Bride of Chucky, by the way. I absolutely love Bride of Chucky.
I actually like the third one a lot too.
So yeah, for everybody who's got to the end of this commentary, stay tuned for lots of more of this kind of content and other stuff we have coming. You can find me on social media under First Class Horror or at classhorrorcast.com. Obviously, this is going to be a Patreon episode. And then, Tom, where can people find you?
www.StrangeBrewPodcast.com is an easy way to find us. Obviously, Strange Brew Podcast at Instagram or wherever you follow us. I don't run the Twitter. I don't like fucking Twitter. Anton just kind of has his pockets in that a little bit, posting some things here and there. But the best place is definitely Instagram. But yeah, we have a lot of stuff coming in all forms of content, and the Patreon allows us to do different things that you guys normally wouldn't hear on our main shows, or get more graphic, nitty gritty stuff that some people may not even want to watch because it might be too graphic for some people. But there will definitely be stuff that is a lot different than the things we do on our main shows.
Cool. Right. Well, appreciate everybody who's taken the time to get this far. And obviously, if you've subscribed to our Patreons, either mine or Tom's, it doesn't matter. So long as you guys are supporting. And we'll see you very soon for another commentary.
Yep. Peace.
Peace.